You're on your own, okay? I'm not saying you should or should not be doing this yourself, okay? You may or may not have a jig. You may or may not even have a table, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, though, we're going to show you how to get it done.
What's up, people? I'm Alex.
And I'm Ben.
This is Charlie. And this is Crispy Co. And we're going to show you how we install our Big Twin Evo Hardtail on this softtail frame. All right, people, here's why this is the best Big Twin Evo Hardtail on the market.
Why is that, Alex?
Because it's the only one, and it really is the best too. We made an absolute banger, dude. This thing has made in the USA, cast axle plates. We have a cast seat post yoke, which gets rid of all this garbage. And look at this frame. It was nice for what it once did, but to build a bitchin' chopper, dude, we came up with an absolute gem of a tail section that matches and replicates a lot of that early Panhead vibe, right? We've got the tapered rails, we got the bent cross member. On this one in particular, we even do 1.1" bottom tubes, which you can hardly tell the difference between the 1 inch and the 1.1". This will seamlessly blend right in to the chassis because all these Big Twin chassis are 1.1". So no stepped tubing. Could not be any easier to install. I mean, you make 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts on the frame that is, and it stabs right on. We even have the tranny support in between, which registers to the old shock mounts. It's 100% TIG welded by Ben, who has just got gorgeous, gorgeous welds. Nothing is inherently outsourced. Why chopper a Big Twin Evo, dude? Well, for one, the Big Twin Evo engine is by far the best engine ever made as far as reliability, power, all that stuff. It's awesome. And the coolest part about like the Softails and the Fat Boy frames, they still have cast necks. The only difference is they don't take cups because they're built in, and then you're gonna have a little bend in the backbone. Outside that, dude, like this thing, when you stab our rear section on there, it is going to pretty much resemble a Panhead frame once you get rid of some of the other wacky brackets from that platform. But nonetheless, dude, you can make the exact stance as any other Panhead out there with the Big Twin Evo, especially with the fact that our hardtail was made to replicate to the best of our ability a pan rear section. One of the most important factors of why we also created this hardtail is because most people that want to build their Big Twin Evo choppers have to get a aftermarket chassis. When you get an aftermarket chassis, it kills the VIN on your bike, and they're not going to have cast necks and all that stuff. Like I said, this hardtail, being that it makes it look like an OG, 50s style frame, with that, and you don't have to mess with your VIN, you don't have to, because those engines and frames are matching numbers. We don't want to mess with that. It's a no-brainer. This thing is an absolute no-brainer. He's also a no-brainer. See?
Alright, you're going to need a measurer, driller, strapper, sander, welder, a couple tacos probably. If you get hungry in between, you're going to need a burner, Sharpie, drill, wheel, flap, a flappy Sharpie wheel, reciprocating wheel. You're going to need, if you don't got wheels, let me tell you, you're going to have a hard time with this. Alright, now let's clean and get that frame nice and ready.
Obviously, the first thing you have to do is strip your frame down, because you can't really do it in place. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is clean up all this road grind that's on here. Mostly in your welding areas. If you want to clean the front up a little bit, that's cool too. I wouldn't worry too much about the back because that's going away anyway.
If you don't have a friend named Mark to cut your lines, I guess do it yourself.
All right, so now we're going to cut or mark the frame for cutting. It's pretty simple in the top section. There's this little seat tab. Probably just get rid of that so that you can cut your line more, or you could like cut it and bend it back if you want to save it. I don't know. I'm gonna end up cutting it off. But see this weld right here where all this comes in? You're just gonna want to cut right next to that weld. So try and cut it as straight as you can, but right on that weld is where you're gonna want to be. Here's your weld for your seat post. You want to cut right next to that weld as tight as you can. So no measuring involved in the top part. It's just there and there. To do the bottom rails, this plate here for your seat post, that's what we're gonna measure off of. We're gonna come in here, it's kind of a pain. We're gonna go 7.5 inches. And this side is a little easier because you don't have that transmission mount. 7.5 inches. That's gonna be your rough cut. If you're a little bit off one way or the other and there's a gap, that's fine. That just means more filler material. And we have these handy slugs that go in there, so you won't have just an open root. You'll have some sort of backing to weld to, so you should be fine. Sometimes these bars aren't exactly square, so I just like to double check that I'm at least close. And I would say that's pretty close, so this thing's square enough. I'm ready to cut.
Now go ahead and cut that tailbone clear off.
Now we're all prepped and ready to cut. Safety glasses. Always safety glasses. I've had a ton of shit get stuck in my eye. It really sucks. Almost lost my vision before. Put your fucking safety glasses on. Anyway, first we're gonna cut this little tab off. Doesn't really matter how you cut it. It's gonna get cleaned up anyway. So you can kind of just hack it up. There's that thing out of our way. Now we've got a nice clean line. Try and keep it as perpendicular with the backbone as possible and just cut right in front of that weld. You already know this, but these frames are under tension. Don't cut all the way through with the cutoff wheel. It can pinch, and those things are super dangerous. It'll throw it out of your hand, throw it back in your face, whatever. So get it to about there and then use a Sawzall, because if they pinch, you're just gonna get rattled around. It's not gonna kill you. All right, if you're gonna be there, that's gonna shoot right at you.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Woo! And there you have it. So your end piece should look something like that. And that's looking pretty sweet over here.
All right, you're gonna want to wire wheel and shape this bad mama.
All right, so now that everything's cut, you're gonna want to get your flapper out and just kind of clean up any of these edges. You know, make them a little flatter if your cuts are a little wonky. Get rid of this little tab here, and then you can like chamfer your edges a little bit for welding as well. So yeah, let's start with just taking this tab off. And that doesn't have to be super duper clean yet, because you're gonna be welding right there and shaping if you want to do that. So just getting it out of the way. Now you get your wire wheel out, get rid of all this powder coat around where you're gonna be welding, because that stuff's bad news. It's disgusting smelling it burn, and it's also gonna mess up your welds. And I just happen to have 3 grinders. You can swap these out back and forth, but it's nice to have this so I don't have to swap them out. I can just grab whatever I want. Good enough.
It's called the fabricator's toothbrush, dude.
Get some Rosio donut holes and deburr this bad baby.
So now that that's all cleaned up, we've got the powder coat off of there, we're gonna do some Rosette holes so that we can get our slugs in there nice and solid. Comes with this fancy little package here that has your slugs in it and your nice stainless mounting bolts for your transmission plate and clamps in here. These are the slugs, so you want to make sure that you're not drilling your hole past where this is going to end up. You got about 1 inch in either direction, and then you're going to want to do one in the top here, but obviously don't go deeper than that so you can get good fusion. Take our center punch here, and I just like to go on the side. And then start drilling. I like to do a pilot hole first just because it makes my life easier than trying to hog it out all at one, but you can do whatever you like. Pilot hole, and then you want to be about 1/4 inch. This is a little over. Also, I like to drill with the clutch on because I've had these things wrap up so many times, and I figured out that if you're going for it and you have the clutch on, it stops instead of whipping into your face. It's kind of nice. So next, after you do all that, you're gonna have some burrs on the inside here. You're gonna have burrs from cutting, and then you're gonna have burrs from drilling. So you wanna make sure that you clean those out so that these slugs fit in all nice. See it's sticking there. You can do it with a file. I got a sweet air tool that I'm gonna use, but just to show you, you can file it out. It just takes a little bit more time, but I know not everybody has air tools, so. All right, and there you go. Beautiful.
Fit up and clamp that frame.
All right, now that we're all clamped up, we can do some rough fitting just to make sure everything slides into place the way it's supposed to. These bad boys can only go in one way. They should stick in just like that. And hopefully what's gonna happen is we can get that to slide in there, and those should just drop right in. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. I'm gonna make some slight adjustments. We're gonna have to put something back here. Measures on that. Then you just want to find a fixed point on the existing frame, like something like this. And you're gonna want to measure back to where your sissy bar mounts are. That's gonna give you your best reference point. And right now, on center, we're about 31 3/4, like 31 7/8. So we're a little bit out. That means this side's got to tighten up just a bit. You can pull it tight before you start ratcheting.
Transmission plate.
Once you have everything registered with your tape, very important thing to do next is to bolt in these guys here and put your tranny plate in so that you make sure that that's lined up. So you don't want to weld everything up and have this not bolt in. With your nifty bolts that come in the kit, just gonna throw this side in, and then you may notice that there's a space on yours because for some reason Harley made these pieces for where your shock mounts are different sizes for different years. So we went lowest common denominator and made it for the bigger one. So it is possible that you will need some washers, spacers, whatever to fill the gap on the other side. Our posts are set up for a 5-speed transmission. So that's what we're gonna use here. We are making these nifty 5-speed bolt pattern for a 4-speed transmission, which should be available by the time this video comes out. These work great if you're trying to put a ratchet top on your Evo, but for now we're gonna use this to the stock 572 register. Now that you checked your reference points, your axle plates are where they need to be, you leveled your axle and you got your transmission plate mounted, you're ready to tack everything up.
You want to level out that axle.
So you go off the front motor mount, 0.0 or 0.9, right, 0.9. And then back here, we're at 0.4. So we're within half a degree. I mean, it's a chopper, it's not going to space. Even if you're like a degree out, like it's not gonna matter that much because this thing's gonna twist and it's a chopper, you're fine.
All right, time to tack and fit that final baby up.
Tuck your beard so you don't light it on fire. Also, when you're tacking, don't tack your rosettes yet, because if you do need to adjust something, getting the welds out of those rosettes sucks. So just tack your joint. I like where it's sitting, so I'm just gonna tack it. Now we can take our strap off and just make sure nothing moves too much. $31 3/4 to the top. I'd say we're good. With it all clamped in place, just weld everything that you can reach, and then we'll unclamp it, flip it, weld the bottom side. Should be good to go.
Weld, hit, hook.
Something you might notice is these seams in here are not welded. That's on purpose because we've noticed that if we weld them fully before the install, they'll toe in a little bit and you'll never get those slugs to fit. So just be weary that those aren't there and they need to be welded while you're doing this part. But just double check your reference points. Yeah, everything looks good there. Should be good to go. Now you can unclamp it and finish weld all the other stuff.
All right, flip her over. All right.
Now we can flip her over or lay it sideways, however you want to do it. Just so it's a little more stable. Ooh, that's a pretty one.
All right, and then we're gonna take some shaping now.
So here we are. Cut up. It's all done. We're fully welded. Everything's ready to go. At this point, it's kind of up to you whether or not you want to shape everything out and clean up the welds for paint or powder coat or whatever you're going to do. This is looking pretty up here, but we're going to shape it out anyway. Start out with a flapper. Just get your rough stuff down. You know, you don't want to take it into the base material. This is just trying to sand on weld material. And then once you get close to base material, you start using lighter and lighter tools, just so you don't do any gouging. Try and keep as flat as possible. Like when you're doing round, you don't want to be going this way. You want to be going with the way that you welded so that you can keep everything as flat and nice as possible, because the end goal is to make it seem like there was never a weld here, like this was just one bar all the way through. So you can take this little guy here, a little less aggressive. You want to try and stay as flat as possible on there, again, so you don't get any gouges, because the end goal is like it was never there. Patience. You don't want to go too hard too fast. It takes time. And after that, this little DA guy here. Feather it all out. There you go. Once that's painted, it'll look like it was never there. And now we just have to do it to the rest of it.
El Fin, that's it.
All right, here it is, people. All freaking installed and done. Looking super sweet. Ready to start its chopper journey. Follow us at CrispyCo on Instagram.
And tag us in your builds.
Yes.
Always. We'd love to see what you do.
Absolutely. We want to see your guys' builds. Also, in a following video, we will be doing de-bracketing, so we're removing all the brackets that we don't need for our chopper build, and we are going to be making a bracket so that you can mount like the original style horseshoe oil tank for the early bikes. We'll be doing all that in a future vid. And we'll have some more bits and pieces, and check out our axle kit. What else, Ben?
I don't know.
All right.
That's it on this one.
I think we did it, dude. There it is.
We're done.
The one and only CrispyCo Big Twin Evo Hardtail kit.
Pucky!
And, well, that's a wrap on this, folks.
Bye, fuckers!